Let's move to other stories. And Dr. Matthew Opoku-Pempeh, Energy Minister, is seeking parliamentary approval from the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation to purchase 37% stake in Aker Energy's oil block and 70% stake in AGM Petroleum's oil block. The Finance Minister has also laid on the floor a request to take a $1.3 billion loan to purchase the stakes. Additionally, the Energy Minister has separately asked for the mandate of Parliament to go negotiate what the purchase price for the stakes will be. Speaker of Parliament, Alvin Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, has referred the request to the Joint Energy and Finance Committees. Now, let's quickly get a word from Ishmael Ejekumihene, energy expert with Kumasi Institute for Technology and Environment, KITE. Mr. Ejekumihene, thanks so much for joining us. What do you make of this particular move? Will this change the face of oil exploration in the country?
Thank you, Daniel, for having me. It will, in the sense that ultimately we are seeking to build GNPC's capacity to be an operator. You know, all the fields that from where we are producing oil, the operators are not, GNPC doesn't have any experience in operating a field. So in that sense, it's part of a strategic plan to get GNPC more and more involved in the upstream to the extent that at a point we're going to be able to basically get our own field, develop it, and then we get to keep all the benefits of the field thereof. So it's a major move, and it's been on the drawing board for some time now. As to whether this is the best place to the fields that we are looking at our best bets, I haven't seen the data. And you want to ask yourself why the private sector are a little bit, or they are willing to offload those shares if those fields are as promising as the memo to Parliament is suggesting. So it's a good move because ultimately we have said that it is important that GNPC plays a much bigger role, and we don't get to only receive royalty and taxes, but we are a major player in the field. But like I said a while ago, I need to see the basis and why these guys are, for example, prepared to sell as much as 70% and in some cases 37% of their stake in the field. That for me should also be investigated. Why is it that they are not interested, or they do not find the field as to be as promising as we see it? So that's the question that we need to answer. But in terms of GNPC becoming an operator through GNPC Explore, which has been established in 2014, 2015, that's almost like moving through with a plan. But whether or not the Peckham field, the places that we're looking at are as lucrative as we want, the minister is trying to convince Parliament. I haven't seen what he has seen, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Yeah, in order for us to get more confidence in the viability of this field, which I get the sense that you would like some more assurance on, should Parliament or should the people of Ghana be asking for an independent assessment of this field?
Okay, so if you read the memo once again, especially the value of the shares, we are told a number of evaluations have taken place. But I think what we are trying to do is such a huge investment that we probably don't need to rush. And the Parliament, the committees will have to be absolutely certain that this is the right move to go. You see, we've been talking about the fact that we're not getting a lot of in terms of the government take from our oil fields. But there is a direct relationship between the amount of risk one takes in any field and how much one gets in return. We are moving into the realms where we're taking on a lot more risk than we've done since we started oil production. So we are at a phase that if this is going to be the first step towards GNPC becoming an operator, we need to get it right. So we can't afford to make mistakes. And we need to also be asking ourselves, taking a step back to ask ourselves why AGM, for example, are prepared to offload 70% of their shares, and why ACA or ACA is prepared to do 37% of their shares. I mean, there's a saying in Akan that nobody sells the hen that lays the golden egg. So that, for me, should be, I mean, almost like not a red flag, but a sign that, wait a minute, why are they offloading that? What have they seen that we haven't seen? But what it means is that if we need close to about $2 billion to acquire that stake, we need a lot more money to be able to develop the fields. And this is just the beginning of a series of borrowing that we're going to have to do to be able to develop the field. And to situate this in its proper context, you take Jubilee, and Jubilee cost about $5 billion to develop the field from exploration to production, okay? So those are the kinds of money, and the larger your share in any field, the more money you need to, what they call the cash calls, you need to provide those. And if you are the major operator, you may be forced to even pre-finance most of the investment, the partners will come in. So I think we are gradually moving in the right direction, and the justification is the fact that these people have the fields, but the energy transitions and all of this is making them develop cold feet and all of that. It could be a good time for us to acquire. But let's make sure that we don't rush this thing through Parliament. Let's make sure that we cross all the T's and the I's and make sure that we get the right value. But ultimately, GNPC needs to also be developing and producing some of the oil if we really want to get major shares in our oil industry. But I don't think we need to rush at all. In Parliament, or if they need independent valuations and other assessment, they need to be convinced. And if possible, they need to let civil society and other groups, I mean, also interrogate some of these things so that we are all happy. At the end of the day, it would be fantastic if we own the 70% in the field, and that field is doing well. It means more money for us, but we shouldn't rush at all.
Right.
And we need to be satisfied. Parliament needs to be sure that is the best move for us.
Right. Mr. Yekum, thank you very much for joining us this morning, on JoyNews Desk.